Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we're doing something a little different. We're going to be diving into a mock IELTS speaking test.
Yeah, we'll be simulating the speaking portion of the exam, and I'll be playing the role of the candidate.
Exactly. You'll be Sophia, our test taker, and I'll be the examiner. What do you do for a living?
I currently work as a marketing specialist for a retail company.
Interesting. And could you tell me a little more about what your job involves?
Sure. My job mainly involves creating advertising campaigns and analyzing market trends.
Okay, great. Now tell me, do you prefer living in a city or the countryside?
That's a good question. I would say I definitely prefer living in a city.
And why is that?
Well, I love the energy and diversity of city life, and I really appreciate the convenience of having everything at my fingertips.
I can see that. But would you say there are any downsides to city life?
Oh, of course. There are definitely some disadvantages, like the noise and pollution can be quite overwhelming sometimes, and the cost of living is generally much higher compared to rural areas.
That makes sense. What about the view from your home? What's it like?
The view from my apartment is actually quite nice. I can see a bustling street below, and there's some greenery in the nearby park. It's lovely to watch the city come to life, especially in the mornings.
Sounds pleasant. Have you ever traveled to a place with an even more stunning view? Maybe the most beautiful place you've ever visited?
Oh, absolutely. The most beautiful place I've ever visited is the Maldives. The crystal clear waters and white sandy beaches were just breathtaking.
Wow, I can imagine it sounds like paradise. Do you enjoy taking photos of scenic places like that?
Yes, I love taking photos. It's a great way to capture memories and share my experiences with others. Plus, I find photography to be a really creative outlet.
Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about something from your childhood. Did you play with the dolls as a child?
Yes, I did play with dolls when I was younger.
What kinds of dolls did you have?
I had a collection of different dolls, and I really enjoyed creating stories and scenarios for them.
Sounds like it was a lot of fun. How popular are dolls in your country?
Dolls are quite popular in my country, especially among girls. They're often seen as classic toys that encourage imaginative play.
I see. Okay, Sophia, we're moving on to part 2 of the speaking test. You'll have 1 minute to prepare a short talk on a specific topic, and you can jot down some notes if you'd like. Here's a pencil and some paper.
Thank you.
All right, Sophia, here's your topic. Describe a favorite toy you had as a child. You should say what the toy was, how you got it, what you liked about it, and explain how it impacted your childhood. You have 1 minute to prepare, and then you can speak for up to 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right, Sophia, your 1 minute preparation time is up. You can start speaking now.
Let me see. One of my favorite toys as a child was a stuffed bear named Teddy. I got him as a birthday gift from my grandparents when I turned 5. He was this soft, plush bear with a cute little bow tie, and I just instantly fell in love with him. What I liked most about Teddy was that he was my companion for all sorts of adventures. I'd take him everywhere with me to the park, to visit friends, even to bed at night. He always felt like he was really listening to me, like I could tell him all my secrets. And I would often create these elaborate stories where Teddy would go on quests or save the day or even have tea parties with my other toys. I remember one time I pretended Teddy was a brave knight who had to rescue a princess from a dragon. It was so much fun. Teddy really had a significant impact on my childhood. He provided comfort during tough times, sparked my imagination, and helped me develop my storytelling skills. I think playing with Teddy helped me to be more creative and to think outside the box. I remember spending hours just lost in my own world, creating adventures for Teddy and myself. Even now as an adult, I still have Teddy tucked away somewhere, and he always brings back such fond memories of my childhood. He's a reminder of the power of imagination and the importance of play.
That was a lovely story, Sophia. Now let's move on to part 3, where we'll have a more in-depth discussion about some topics related to toys. Okay, Sophia, let's dive a little deeper into this world of toys. What factors do you think parents should consider when buying toys for their children?
Well, I think safety is obviously the most important thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So parents really need to make sure that any toy they buy is age appropriate and doesn't have any small parts that could be choking hazards.
Makes sense. I'd say durability is another big one. It's always frustrating to spend money on a toy that breaks easily. So checking how well made a toy is can save a lot of headaches down the road.
True.
How do you think toys themselves have evolved over time?
Oh, they've definitely changed a lot, especially with all the technology we have now.
In what ways?
Well, in the past, children mostly played with traditional toys like dolls, action figures,
Yep.
building blocks, board games, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I remember those days.
And those are still popular, of course, but
Okay.
now there's this huge market for electronic toys, video games apps specifically designed for kids.
It's amazing how technology has influenced even the toys we give to children.
Yeah.
For our last question, I want to touch on something that often sparks a lot of discussion. Why do you think toys are often marketed so differently to boys and girls?
I think there are a few reasons for that. Some of it has to do with those traditional gender roles and stereotypes that we see everywhere.
Right? Like how girls are often encouraged to play with dolls and kitchen sets, while boys get the action figures and construction toys.
Exactly those sorts of things. But I think there's a growing awareness now that these stereotypes can be pretty limiting. And a lot of companies are starting to promote gender-neutral toys that encourage all children to explore a wider range of interests.
That's great to hear. It sounds like things are starting to shift a bit. Well, Sophia, that was fantastic. You did an amazing job answering all those questions. It felt like I was conducting a real IELTS speaking test.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
I think it's also really important to consider the educational value of a toy.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
Well, toys can be amazing tools for learning, right? So parents might want to look for toys that encourage things like creativity, problem solving, or the development of specific skills. That's a great point. Toys can be so much more than just entertainment. And for our listeners out there, I hope this deep dive gave you a good feel for what the IELTS speaking test is like. Remember, it's all about demonstrating your ability to communicate effectively in English. And just like Sophia showed us, practice makes perfect. The more you practice speaking, the more confident and fluent you'll become. So keep practicing and best of luck with your language learning journey.